the rhythmic tunes of just smooth jazz don't hit the same at 5:11 on a Saturday, but because the WNBA does noon games, that is what we were doing. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz of Zone Coverage, beat reporter for the Timberwolves, Lynx, and now the Women's Gopher. And this is the Missing Lynx postgame postcast live stream. And today we have Shelby Swanson, former intern from the StarTribune, current in her car driving all the way to North Carolina.
Oh yeah, we're back in North Carolina, but I'm on the way to a baseball game now.
Okay, no back, longer driving to Carolina, but driving to what baseball game are you going to?
We're going Durham Bulls. It's the one of the minor league teams here in town, affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. So, going to see some quality local baseball. No better way to spend a Saturday after listening to the Lynx game, mostly on the radio, on the way back. So I will say I was texting a little bit with Andrew here, but I had the CBS broadcast pulled up during the first half, and then we hit a patch, and it was either West Virginia or Virginia, I forget, and wasn't enough connection. But I said, you know what? Let me pull up the radio, and honestly, Sloan was doing her thing. It was way better than the CBS broadcast. Like, I didn't even need the visuals. She brought the energy, and that's no diss to the CBS broadcast, but more just an appreciation for Sloan and what she does. And actually, the first time I've been able to listen to her on the radio, because usually I'm watching the games on TV or actually at them, and I mean, it felt like I was there. I'm like, I don't even need the visuals, man. So.
We can diss the CBS radio, or at least I'll diss the CBS radio.
You know what?
A couple people sent me clips of one of the announcers accidentally calling the Lynx the Wolves a couple times. Yeah, that's just a tough look. Like,
we can't have that.
if you get a name wrong, like, whatever. I'm judgmental, so I'll judge you. But like, when you get the team name wrong with the men's basketball team, that's a tough one on national TV. Shelby, I'm going to throw us over to an ad read here while we get a few people in the live stream. When we come back, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about Sloan and just the game today.
Yeah, let's get it.
Well, hello. Thank you, live stream Andrew. This is ad read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Lynx podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back. So Shelby, your video is gone. If you can't do the video because you're like
we're
in
here.
the bum place of North Carolina, the slums.
Place in North Carolina. Wait, first off, hey.
Like a bum cell service place, not like North Carolina is a bum place. I hear good things.
Thank you.
Feel free to cut the camera if you need to. But anyways,
cut the camera.
So I kind of want to start with the post-game reaction because Courtney kind of went a little bit Courtney Williams this week, posted Stud Buds with Jalen, the new member on the Lynx roster, talking about how she's with the good guys now and no longer with the bad guys, and made some disparaging remarks towards the Liberty, and set a standard for her that she would have to come out and really ball today. And she did. I mean, 26 points. If you want to nitpick, she had 3 turnovers, and she did have like a heat check airball 3, but that's just Courtney Williams.
Yeah,
and after the game, she backed it up. She kind of said, we don't like them. They beat us in the championship. We don't want them to win. We don't like them. We're not their friends. And, for a team that talks so much about this not being a rivalry, it's really starting to be a rivalry. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Shelby.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here's the thing, though, is that when you have, a packed Target Center crowd, you have all the fans wearing their everybody watched Minnesota get robbed and the Stewie Walks t-shirts and things like that. It's starting to feel like a rivalry. I mean, again, I think it's a little bit too early to describe it that like outright, but obviously this is part of the WNBA's Rivals Week presented by Ally or whatever they're calling it. I know that Coach Reeve also after the game was kind of comparing this series to, you see some of the building blocks, right, of like when the Sparks, the Lynx went back and forth 2015, 2016. Really exhausting but fun, and it kind of builds playoff mettle, I think, for both teams. Again, these are not, neither roster is at full capacity. Phees Collier obviously out for a little bit. I think she moved up a little bit though in terms of like her status to a probable. So
she went to a doubtful last night, which they asked Cheryl about it pregame, and she kind of gave like a snarky Cheryl answer, which tells me maybe they just did that to mess with the Liberty. But then she had no boot, no brace, no nothing on during the whole game or during warmups. So I would assume she's pretty close.
There you go. But yeah, she's close, obviously, on the Liberty side. They're without Stewie. They're also without what I think Izzy and Sabley as well, like on that side. So they were down, especially if you look in like, their front court options. I think you saw that because there were certainly some plays where I think Niesman and JJ just looked tired, honestly, in terms of just getting beat off the dribble or being late to kind of the, help defense there in the post. But I think it has certainly a lot of makings of a rivalry, and I really like the words that Courtney kind of said after the game. And, does the talking trash, does it help kind of rile you up for this matchup? And she said, I don't need that. They beat us in the finals last year.
Yeah.
We don't like them. They shouldn't like us. And, I know that obviously all this will kind of get clipped and might be taken a little bit out of context, but of course she added the aside of, I love these women on the other team. I'm close with JJ, but as a team, I don't like them. I want them to lose every game, and I like it. Like, like,
that's
can we curse on here? Is this, or do we have to keep it clean? Can we curse on here?
Yeah, you can curse on here. It's fine.
No, I mean, it's like, talk your shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's what we.
Cheryl had the quote of the year saying,
yeah.
In regards to Courtney trash talking on a live stream and then playing them, that like you can't be a Birkin bag and then go to a Target bag. Like,
which also, let me make a comment about that. The Target bag comment. They play in the Target Center. So maybe like Walmart bag. You don't want to go from your Birkin bag to your plastic bag.
I promise you Cheryl isn't concerned about the Target Center.
I'm just saying you play in the Target Center. So
Cheryl, if for whatever reason you and Carly are listening to this on your way home, please
Carly,
let me know if you are worried about Target coming after you.
Nah, they definitely are. But I'm consider that, maybe consider. But it was a great comment. And honestly, Cheryl's been with some of the quotables recently. She's been, I think we had 2 crash outs. Used phrases in this post game. So, I don't know if it's her son's in her ear, kind of getting some of that, younger slang, or certainly the players. I mean, just being around Atisha and Courtney, you're gonna pick up some of the lingo. But I love it from Cheryl. She's been having some fun after these post-game press. She usually does, but recently even more. Like,
I think she genuinely really likes this team.
It's a fun team.
Janelle drops in. That's the least of Target's concerns. I also agree. JP,
sure.
I saw your chat, but I'm going to go to this one first, and then I'll circle back around to you. But it seems like from the outside, DiJonai is responding really well to Cheryl. Unique style of public and private communication. Any thoughts on their relationship? DiJonai, I felt like, and Shelby, I'll throw it to you in a second here, but DiJonai, I felt like coming into the Lynx, there is this almost like public persona of what DiJonai is. I mean, she has like the blonde, now pink hair. She has tattoos. She's a trash talker. She is like very out in the open with like her style and like her lifestyle. And I think sometimes that can lead people to think that that's like a selfish player or a selfish person. Like, having talked to people that were on that Connecticut team last year, even talking to their coach last year in the playoffs, like DiJonai is like a really good locked in teammate that takes things really seriously. So when the trade happened, I kind of said, like, DiJonai is Cheryl Reeve's perfect player, like just coachable, super intense, defense oriented. And I think it's gone pretty much perfectly. I think DiJonai really appreciates the kind of, I mean, she went on a live stream last night and somebody sent me the clip of her talking about doing the hair flip too much, and Cheryl gave her like a box of hairpins. Like, I think DiJonai genuinely probably likes that stuff, and that's just Cheryl. Like, she is a player's coach, but also keeps them really locked in. What was your kind of observations between Cheryl and DiJonai, though?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I saw the clip that you referenced, and my understanding of the situation is that there was some recent game where DiJonai had
it was
the ball,
the last New York game.
Right.
The last New York game, she flipped her hair and then airballed a 3.
Yeah, no. So Coach Reeve brought it up in film study and said, yeah, we can't have that. Like, gave her, a package of bobby pins. And as people were very quick to point out on Twitter later, and, DiJonai quote tweeted, she was wearing those bobby pins. So, no, but I think it just kind of speaks to Reeve's just, ability to kind of relate with the players and can kind of joke around with them. It's not all serious all the time, but seriously, I mean, I think I've spoken a lot with Terry and just also like wrote this in some of my articles at the StarTribune. I think just DiJonai and acquiring her before the trade deadline was a massive land for the and you see it just in her ability to get downhill, her ability to push the ball in transition, and again, just her athleticism and tenacity on the defensive ends. Like, if you really want to see an example of what she can do, go back and just watch how she was guarding Sabrina Ionescu in this latest game, and it's something that allows Kayla McBride and the other guards to, I don't know, it kind of alleviates some of what they have to do. They have more legs on their shots later in the game. I think you saw that especially not in today's matchup, but more so the last game prior. I know that Kayla McBride was talking about that. You were there. She called DiJonai a luxury to have as a teammate just because of what she can do in terms of cross-matching on the defensive ends. And I think really it's been cool to see, the Lynx fans embrace her. I know there can be maybe a certain section of fans that worry about, okay, somebody like DiJonai, who's also a trash talker, and we have the slam cover and all this motion happening around the Lynx right now. Are they getting too flashy? I mean, they're the number one team by like 6
and a half games.
It's not like they're like losing sight of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, embrace it, like, and enjoy the excitement and some of the kind of, character, swag, if you will, around this team. I don't think it's an indication of anybody losing focus, and certainly Carrington is not that at all, in my opinion.
Completely agree. JP dropped in the chat here of just Lynx current style. When Phees come back, is there going to need to be another adjustment? I'm just going to throw it over to you. I mean, when Phees comes back, do you think there's going to need to be an adjustment, or do you think it'll just kind of click right back in?
All right, so here's my thoughts on that is, I mean this in the most respectful way possible, but I know that there's some questions surrounding, like, I did some reporting out, like, Vikings training camp of, okay, but has JJ, had enough practice with Justin Jefferson? Like, what's their chemistry going to be like when they get out on the field together, and have they had enough practice and time together? It's Justin Jefferson. Just throw him the ball. Like, what are we talking about? Like, are we going to have to make adjustments when the leading candidate for MVP comes back on the court? And just give her the ball. If anything, I think this was a really interesting point that, and I forget if it was on the CBS broadcast or maybe it was when I was listening to Sloan, but so this is not reporting that I did, but just in terms of some conversations with players, I think there's more of a sentiment like they have to be a lot more balanced. They have to work on their spacing and be a lot more creative and smart in terms of making the best reads on offense, because you don't have a scenario where shot clock's running down. Okay, let's just kick it to Phees and make something happen. So if
Exactly.
anything, I think it's made some of the players a lot more like smart and savvy in the way that they can work together. I mean, look no further than just Alana Smith and Jessica Shepard's connection. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but in terms of what they combined for in the fourth quarter,
Yeah,
it
Lan had
was
7 on her
insane.
own.
There you go.
Mhm.
Part of that, obviously, Courtney was kind of saying post game that, Lan was being more of a facilitator in the first 3 quarters, and then heading into the fourth quarter, they said, we need you to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
But her and Shepard, I think, work really, really well together. And some of what they've kind of talked about too is Lan, I think, is more of likes to play a little bit outside the paint, kind of cutting in. Just likes to play more, right around the rim. But there are also some plays where they kind of inverse that. Again, I forget where it was in the game, but I think it was the first half. Lan drove in and Jess basically like tiptoed on the baseline, caught the ball for that reverse lay. I mean, they just worked so seamlessly together. And that's something that I don't know if we would have been able to see that, or they would have necessarily gotten the chance to practice it in scenarios and games of this magnitude had Phee not been out. Of course, I'm not saying like it's a good thing that Phee's out and they get no. Like that would be a
That's
really
the most
stupid take.
tired trope. Like if Phee was healthy,
exactly,
we want Phee. Like that, there's no doubt. Like if
Yes.
Phee's healthy, Phee is playing, we want Phee. There's no coach ever would bench their best player to get reps for their backups. But to your point, Phee plays 36 minutes a night. Like Jess and Lan never share the court unless it's like 4 minutes. Like they don't get those. The other thing I'd just say is like Phee is one of the most selfless basketball players I've ever been around. Like she doesn't know how many shots she takes. She doesn't know how many points she scores. She is just kind of in her complete own little world while she's playing and doing anything she can to help the team win. So I don't think there'll be an adjustment at all. I think Phee just comes back in and then they just have all of this extra information of like, okay, if this happens, we can turn to Phee, Lan, and Jess as a big lineup, or we can play small now with BC at the 4. Like there's different info they've gained, but like I don't think there'll be any drop off with Phee coming back. I'm going to throw us to one more ad break, and then when we get back, if anyone else has fan questions, we love to answer those. If not, we'll preview the Atlanta matchup. They're playing Atlanta again, I think. And then Indiana. So we'll preview those and the, of course, 4th game of the Liberty series. And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. All right, Shelby, we're back, and Shelby has just told me she needs to go to a baseball game, so I will answer some fan questions and preview the 4th Liberty game. But Shelby, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. 2 quick points I will make. I wanted to fact check myself. Okay, so when I was talking about Smith and Shepard, okay, I have it in my notes. They combined for, I think, all 15 Lynx fourth quarter points up until about that 4-minute mark. Also, I'm going to hear it if I don't mention this. Obviously, player of the game, okay, Courtney Williams, 26 points. I think it's her most points in a Lynx uniform, one of about 20-plus points game, 20 or more points games that she's had this year. So, I mean, I think that's one of just her career best games, in my opinion. Absolutely monster game, capping off a monster week with the slam cover and all that. I also want to shout out, guys, this is real love. I got a DM on Blue Sky. I don't check my Blue Sky DMs, but apparently somebody listened to the episode that I did with Terry where I said that I wanted one of the Angel Reese 2K shirts at the Chicago game and I didn't get it. Someone reached out to me and they have an extra shirt and they are shipping it to me. So that's just so love. So I just wanted to say thank you. I'm not going to like
Lynx fans are insane.
But that's just wow.
Like
chills. So
The reason we're
feeling the
doing
love in
this
North
whole
Carolina.
Hardwood Network is because Lynx fans are insane. So Janelle says that's me, Shelby. Janelle
Oh my gosh,
in the
Janelle,
chat. Look at
Janelle,
this.
thank you so much. Guys, okay, Janelle wants to take credit. Shout out Janelle. Everybody send her some love. That just, wow, that truly made my day. You know, we're making the 18-hour drive back to Chapel Hill. I opened up Blue Sky, and I'm gonna get emotional if I go much longer on this, but that was so loved. So shout out Janelle, shout out everybody on the stream, anybody who has read me or Andrew's work, and I will definitely be keeping up with the Links with the W from afar. So if anyone ever wants to talk W, I'm around. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelby. I mean, just more proof that Lynx fans are the wildest fan base ever. Not like in a bad way. Not, you guys aren't crazy in a bad way. I'm not going to try and like dig myself out of a hole here because I stand by you guys are crazy. I was at the arena today and it was loud. Like Courtney mentioned it after the game of just like, you guys showed out. I mean, full sellout. They sold the top 10 rows of the upper deck out. They easily could have done more. Like the passion that you guys have for the team is wild. There was also a pay the players protest outside of the Target Center that I got a couple pictures of sent to me, and I will be asking the team about that after a practice or something, because that's just, I mean, it's one thing to support your team, but when you're also supporting the beat writers on the team, like Shelby, and the players like livelihoods, it's why you guys are honestly the best. Obviously moving on to the next game, it's going to be game 4 against New York. I would be shocked if Phees plays. I kind of have penciled in her return of maybe Thursday or Friday now that she is out of a boot and looked to be, I mean, she danced after the game. So she looked to be moving around pretty good on the bench. But that 4th game against New York, I feel like if there's one thing I've kind of learned from this Lynx team, even without Phees, is that every game, it's just so different from last year's finals, where last year's finals, it seemed like if they can shut down Phees, the game is just kind of over, right? Like we saw that in a couple of the games where the offense just completely sputtered without Phees out there. And this year it seems like, okay, if you shut down Phees, we have K-Mac. If you shut down Phees and K-Mac, Courtney's here. If you shut down all 3 of them, we have Jessica who can pass under the basket, Lan who can score from anywhere, T's having a career year, DiJonai's playing awesome, Bridget's still always a threat. I mean, this is a team that now has just option after option after option. And for people that haven't listened to it yet, I had Lucas Kaplan on from Nets Daily. He covers the Liberty up close over in Brooklyn. And he was just kind of saying, like, he was even saying, like, we don't really know if just getting Stewie back is going to fix any of these problems, because if Stewie comes back, theoretically, they're either going to have to go with Stewie at the 3 playing Emma and Jones, or they're going to have to go Emma off the bench, which I just don't know how you rotate those bigs so they can all get 30 minutes with Emma coming off the bench. And if Stewie is playing small forward, that means she's guarding K-Mac, and K-Mac is going to torture. I mean, just the amount of screens that K-Mac goes through, that's not a matchup that's good for New York. I thought New York today did a really good job of just making things difficult for the Lynx. But that being said, K-Mac just missed a lot of open shots. BC missed both of her attempts that were pretty well open. There was a lot of just kind of weird possessions on offense where it seemed like people weren't moving or cutting correctly. And it seemed like the Lynx offensive problems were more Lynx inflicted than Liberty caused. That being said, I can't take full credit away from the Liberty. Like they did rotate really well. They did play really well. I thought Tosh played really well on court, and court just hit a bunch of really tough shots. And the other thing that was just interesting to me that I will kind of put in my back pocket of just the end of the game possessions, Tosh kind of hitting a pretty uncontested layup, which she obviously saw that the defense wasn't in a certain way and just took it. But the next possession, no one touched the ball except for Tosh, and she took a really contested kind of wild layup. And it seemed like in the fourth quarter, it was a very heavy Natasha Cloud offense, which I will be completely honest, I am biased. I love Natasha Cloud. She is like one of my top 5 favorite players to watch. Her like grit, intensity, genuinely love everything about her game. But it was just a lot of Tosh. So much so that Jones didn't register a field goal attempt in the fourth quarter, and Sabrina really didn't get a lot of opportunities to just cook. The other person that I thought it just stood out was Johannes. Just a lot of just wild shots or wild passes that just didn't go very well. David has here in the chat, if you allow me for a second, of course, this is a fan focused show. We will always allow fan questions. How did I feel Masha slots in with centers in the league? Is she a starting caliber 5? To what extent do we expect? I think Mosh, it's telling that she hasn't been in the league before. I think she needs a lot of things around her to function as a good center. She doesn't have much of a like dribble or post up game. She kind of needs to be set up on offense. Now she can hit threes in mid range and she is pretty savvy around the basket, but that still requires somebody to set that up for them. So offensively, she's pretty, I would say, limited. The Lynx are just such a special case because they have 7 or 8 players that will pass at will and are very unselfish. I think a lot of other teams don't have that kind of like unity and ball sharing, which makes Masha's offense look even more glaring. I think defensively, she is easily a starting caliber center. I think she could certainly hold up against almost everybody. She does, again, if I'm nitpicking, she fouls quite a bit. So she's not like a 30-minute starting center, but I do think she could get like 20-25 minutes on a rough team as a starting center. For this Lynx team, she is kind of just a wild card, if you will. If they feel like the rebounding isn't going their way, if they feel like they're giving up too much size, they have the ability to throw Masha in next to Lan, next to Shep, next to Phee. I don't think she'll get more than 3 or 4 minutes consistently in every game, though. And that's purely because the post, I've talked about it when we were talking about trades, the post rotation for the Lynx. Phee is going to play 35 minutes. Lan's going to play 30, and that leaves 15 minutes for Jess. There just isn't minutes to go around. They kind of have the same problem at wing now with DiJonai. Boy, I'm forgetting. Nope, DiJonai, Bridget Carlton, even K-Mac sometimes plays at the 3. They kind of have that same issue at the forward, the small forward position as well. So I do think it's important that we have a player like Mosh on our team, but I don't know how much run she will get, especially coming to the playoffs. Katie asks here, Emma looked like a liability on defense today. Growing pains are something to exploit. Emma, I think, is a solid defender. Like, she has enough of a career kind of behind her where I think she's going to be a solid defender, especially in those crucial moments. But Lan really did kind of cook her in the fourth quarter, getting to the rim pretty much at will. She also fouled quite a bit, especially Shepard being under the basket. I do think when you're looking at this New York team, when they have Emma and Jones out, they just don't have the foot speed to keep up with the Lynx when they are playing Shep and Lan, because Shep is a very skilled offensive big, especially with her footwork. And Lan realistically is a power forward. Like, she is being asked to play an undersized center role. But again, realistically, she is a power forward. So you have a power forward that is a perimeter oriented with her 3-point shooting matched up against Emma. Like, that is a mismatch on defense. And that kind of goes into what Lucas had been saying on the previous pod of just when Stewie comes back, how do those three coexist on a basketball court together, given that they are going to be kind of big, plodding, not the best footwork defenders? I really think the Lynx kind of figured it out again in the fourth quarter, especially going to LAN and having Courtney be more of that facilitator off the pick and roll. But and again, this wasn't like a good win, if that makes sense. Like the Lynx offense for most of the game looked really sticky and stuck in the ruts. Wasn't a lot of movement, wasn't a lot of cutting. Even like their pick and roll just kind of got blown up. I would expect if Phees back on this team, it doesn't do that as often. And also K-Mac just couldn't hit shots today, which other than like one deep three and a couple of those weird little underhand scoop shots that she does, like everything she shot was pretty open. So I think it's less about like Emma is going to be a defensive liability and more about the Lynx are just going to be able to exploit her kind of consistently, if that makes sense, which in and of itself, I realize that what I just blurted out, like, yes, if the Lynx can exploit her, she's a liability, but like Emma is a good defender. I think just on this team with their personnel, she will be the one that gets attacked and she's not going to be able to keep up with wings. It's just, it's not something you ask someone at that stage of their career to do, especially after they come over midway through the season. Last call for fan questions here as we just kind of talk about it. You know, the last game, they are going to the Liberty. I just mentioned I would expect Fee isn't going to be in. It also sounds like Stewie isn't going to be playing in that game as well. It's not as quick of a turnaround, so I would half expect the Lynx, you know, they'll have tomorrow off to rest. Monday or Tuesday might be a travel day, and they're going to be able to just kind of gain more rest before having to play the Liberty again. Meanwhile, this Liberty team is exhausted. Again, talking to the Liberty beat reporters, that was the moral of the story, is just Phoebich is being asked to guard the main ball handler on the opposing team constantly. Cloud is getting huge minutes. Sabrina's getting huge minutes. Jones is getting huge minutes. They just don't have the same depth. And looking at this from like 1,000 feet view, it just seems like the Lynx right now are getting wins that are a luxury, right? Like winning these games without Fee is just kind of the cherry on top of an already great season. Whereas New York seems to be just kind of trying to crawl into the playoffs with most of their team healthy and a good seed. And Tuesday, I would expect we're going to get the best punch yet from New York. They've been struggling. They're back down to the 3 seed again at time of recording. And I think just for their confidence, they need to win this game against the Lynx just to kind of spark the rest of the week. You know, I've heard from quite a few people that this is the way the Lynx are beating them is kind of reminiscent of how the Sun lost to the Wolves, or the Sun beat the Wolves, excuse me, in that regular season before the Wolves swept them in the playoffs. And I think my counter to that is just that, you know, the last game of the season where the Sun blew out the Wolves and gave all of those Wolves fans heartburn, the difference was the coaches weren't trying to win. Like Chris Finch wasn't tipping his hand. He wasn't throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick. Like we're seeing Sandy Brondella throw everything at the Lynx. I mean, the first game with Fee there, they were trying everything to stop her and they couldn't. The second game, K-Mac went off. Court had a good game. They again kind of threw everything they could to try and slow down the offense and it didn't work. And then this last game, they effectively took K-Mac out. They, you know, DiJonai wasn't as impactful. And Courtney just took it over and won it. So for the Liberty, it really seems like this is going to be a game where they come into it of, we have to win one. If we lose all 4 of them and we meet this team in the playoffs, like we haven't figured out anything. It just seems like it's going to be a desperation type of win. That being said, we will be live again after that game here on the Missing Lynx podcast. This will be for anyone who came in a little bit late. It'll be posted on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts tomorrow at 7 a.m. That would be Sunday at 7 a.m. And I mean, I just want to shout out you guys again, from Janelle shipping a t-shirt all the way to the Carolinas to everyone else that joins these live streams. Like, you guys are the reason that Hitting the Hardwood has turned from one podcast into three, and that we're doing this because Lynx fans deserve the same coverage that everyone else does. Like, you guys are awesome fans that are really behind the team. The least you should have is some podcasts to listen to while you're driving to work, right? So thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, go Lynx.